Hey, what's going on, guys? So today I want to talk about causes of low testosterone and how to try to start to fix them. I can't cover everything in this video because honestly, if I go over 10 minutes, you guys stop watching anyways. So I'm going to try and be as short as possible. I'm going to try and go through all 5 reasons, and I'm going to try and give you some quick fixes for each. Well, none of these are quick. There is no like real quick fix for anything to do with the human body. It takes work, it takes practice, it takes patience at times. But if you're finding yourself in a situation with low testosterone, or you feel like your testosterone is declining, these are some things you can do. Now, let me start by saying this. If you feel like you are hormonally deficient, you should go and check with a doctor first and foremost. Get yourself tested. You want to get your total testosterone checked and your free testosterone checked. And on top of that, you want to get all of your other hormones checked as well. Your growth hormone, your as measured by IGF-1 and IGF-1 BP3. You want to make sure that you're getting your DHEA, your pregnenolone, all your testosterone, all your estrogens checked out, your thyroid levels, everything. This is so important for your health and so important if you want to live a fit and active lifestyle. But I can't emphasize that enough. Your world can be taken down by a hormone deficiency, and it only takes one hormone deficiency to create a negative cascade that can affect all others. So let's get into this and let's talk about some reasons why you might have low testosterone. The first reason is overconversion of testosterone into estrogens, and this process is called aromatization, right? A lot of times when we overproduce testosterone, or if we're injecting exogenous testosterone, you can convert testosterone into estrogens. And I want to emphasize this can happen whether or not you're taking steroids. It can happen to you naturally, and I'm going to go through how it can happen to you naturally. If it starts with your insulin production. So if you're overeating and you're having high levels of insulin all the time, insulin helps to upregulate aromatase, which is the enzyme that helps to convert testosterone into estrogens. Your estrogen starts to increase, and on top of that, your sex hormone binding globulin increases. So what that means, sex hormone binding globulin is kind of like a transporter molecule that binds to testosterone and hormone molecules that to transport them around your body to receptor sites. And you can't freely use sex hormones if they're bound, right? So that's why you have two counts of testosterone. You have total testosterone and your free testosterone. Your free testosterone is unbound. And so if you're creating more sex hormone binding globulin, you might have a lot of testosterone, but you're not able to use it. So insulin goes up. It's chronically high. That upregulates estrogen or upregulates aromatase. Estrogen increases, sex hormone binding globulin increases. So things are starting to look not so good. From there, your free testosterone starts to dip, and this is where you start to feel it. And on top of that, what happens is your fat stores increase, and you have to remember something about fat. It's not some organ that it's not something that just sits under your skin. It's actually an organ that secretes hormones and secretes compounds into your body. So visceral fat, as that increases from lack of insulin sensitivity, that increases what they call inflammatory cytokines. Inflammatory cytokines, they create total body chronic inflammation, and that creates even more insulin resistance. So your body starts to pump more and more insulin out, and your body's not responding to it. It's not regulating blood sugar. Your body feels like it needs more insulin. So this continues. You produce more aromatase, and your estrogen continues to go up, and your testosterone starts to go down. All while this is happening, your hypothalamus in your brain is releasing what they call gonadotropin releasing hormone. Now, what this does is it goes and it stimulates the Leydig cells in your testicles to produce more testosterone, which you think would be a good thing, right? So your gonadotropin releasing hormone is stimulating more luteinizing hormone, and that's going in, that's stimulating the Leydig cells to produce more testosterone. You would think that's a good thing, but what's happening if aromatase is upregulated? You're producing more testosterone, but that means you're also producing more estrogen, right? So this is a really vicious cycle that a lot of us can get into. And in order to fix it, one of the things we really need to do is to regulate our insulin levels. That means watching our diets. That means lowering the carbohydrate levels a little bit. That means that perma bulk that you're doing that is getting you up to crazy body fat percentages is probably not going to help you to build muscle, because it's probably going to have a negative effect on your hormones. That being said, if you're younger, between the ages of 18 and even into your late 20s, you probably don't have to worry about this as much. I would still try to keep your body fat percentage to an athletic level, like 10, 12%. But if you go a little bit higher at a younger age and you want to consume some extra calories, it's probably not going to hurt you as much as somebody who's in their mid to late 30s. And since I'm in my mid to late 30s, I need to speak to those guys as well. I know there's a lot of younger people who watch this channel, but those are the guys who are really going to be hurt up for the hormone deficiencies. So if you're in your mid to late 30s, one of the big solutions for you is to reduce your calories, reduce your carbohydrate intake, and allow your body to start using insulin more efficiently. The next big reason that people end up getting low testosterone is Leydig cell failure. Now, Leydig cells are cells within your testicles that help to produce testosterone, right? This happens because of total body chronic inflammation is one reason. It could happen because you've gotten kicked in the balls really hard and you've gotten some damage down there. It can happen for any one of those reasons. So the big thing here we have to remember is we want to regulate our levels of inflammation. So we want to try to consume an anti-inflammatory diet. So the way you know that you have this is if you are taking your blood test, getting that hormone panel that I mentioned earlier, and you have really, really high luteinizing hormone, then if your luteinizing hormone is high, that means you probably have some Leydig cell failure. So a place to start to try to fix this is, like I said, consume an anti-inflammatory diet, but you need to take care of your gut health. That's something I've always said on this channel. Your gut is the key to your health, your fitness, and having an amazing body. If you're not looking out for your gut microbiome, the chances that you're going to be able to build muscle are going to become slimmer and slimmer as your gut health decreases. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're consuming a lot of fermented foods, kombucha, coconut kefir, kimchi, raw sauerkraut, potentially supplementing with probiotics. If you go on antibiotics, doctors do not tell you this. If you go on antibiotics, that's going to kill every source of friendly bacteria in your gut. So those of you who've been on antibiotics in the last 3 years, I would highly suggest supplementing with a good probiotic supplement. Caprobiotics makes a good one. Like I said, I'm not affiliated with that company, but I'll put a link below in the description box where you can find that. And there's other sources of good probiotic bacteria that you can use that I just mentioned, but you really want to be taking care of that gut health. And you will, if you're taking care of your gut, the rest of your body will follow. Your brain will be healthy, your muscles will be healthy, your health will be a lot better, and your hormones are more likely to be more optimized. Another reason why I am looking at notes here because this is a lot of information. Another reason why people have higher testosterone levels is because of upregulation of something called alpha-5-reductase. Now, all the hormones we have get converted into other hormones through different interactions with different enzymes. And alpha-5-reductase is another type of enzyme that reduces testosterone to something called dihydrotestosterone. Dihydrotestosterone is a testosterone derivative. Basically, it helps to give us more of our secondary male characteristics. So the voice, the deeper voice, facial hair, and things like that. But in abundance, it actually can lead to baldness and man boobs. So a lot of the times when you're seeing guys who might have gyno who've never done steroids before or never abused steroids, but you see older guys with gyno. That's because they have high levels of dihydrotestosterone, especially if they're balding. And so one of the things that can happen to us is as we produce testosterone, it can be converted to dihydrotestosterone. It's another big danger with steroids is that a lot of the steroids that are on the market are actually dihydrotestosterone. If you look at a product like Masteron, that is actually full-on dihydrotestosterone. So how do we prevent this, and how do we know? How do we know if it's happening? Well, you'd get tested and you'd have higher levels of DHT, dihydrotestosterone. Two, if you want to protect yourself from this or you want to stop this from happening, one way this happens is when your calories are very high, your alpha-5-reductase, that actually increases. So one thing you might want to do if you're feeling like you're having low T is reduce your calories again, reduce those carbohydrates a little bit, and consume less. Don't overeat. Eat a sensible amount of calories, okay? The final way, and I know this video is going very long, but this is one that's going to pertain to a lot of you, especially people who are older, is chronic stress. Chronic stress can seriously affect our testosterone levels, and that generally happens through something called the pregnenolone steal. Pregnenolone is known as the mother of all hormones, right? So it produces testosterone. Its derivatives produce testosterone. They produce estrogens, they produce cortisol, and a bunch of other different hormones throughout the body. And so if you are chronically stressed and you're producing lots and lots of cortisol, right? Cortisol, we think of it as this kind of evil hormone, but it's there for a reason. It helps us to deal with stress. And so if you are chronically stressed, you're producing lots and lots of cortisol, eventually your body thinks it needs more and more of it. So what it does is it takes some of that pregnenolone that was meant to produce your other hormones like testosterone or to produce DHEA and other types of hormone precursors that would go into making testosterone. The overproduction of cortisol steals some of that pregnenolone and goes toward making more cortisol. So your testosterone goes down, your stress hormone cortisol goes up, and you end up in a seriously stressed out and hormonally deficient state. Your sleep gets affected, your ability to eat gets affected, your ability to train gets affected, your ability to think properly gets affected, and you feel generally worn out. At very, very bad stages of this, you could be bedridden. So how would you take care of something like this? Well, you really want to follow a protocol that will help to de-stress you, that will help to take you down a bit. So in this case, you actually want to eat a little bit of carbohydrate at each meal. Right, and the reason why you'd want to eat a little bit of carbohydrate at each meal, I'm not talking like a lot of carbohydrate, but like 20 grams of carbohydrate at each meal will produce enough insulin to shut off your cortisol production, right? So, and again, these should be anti-inflammatory sources, but you want just enough insulin to shut down your cortisol production because they're antagonistic hormones. And then the other thing you want to do is make sure you're eating breakfast. Don't fast. I would reduce your training volume by about 50%. Only operate at about 50% of your training volume, and do that for 6 to 8 weeks. Give yourself a little bit of rest. Make sure you're getting 8 hours of sleep if you feel like you're having this. The way to tell you have this, of course, is that you have high levels of cortisol. So guys, I'm really sorry for the long video. I wanted to give you some of this advice. I'm putting this all out in a course that I'm going to be releasing in February, so look out for that. If you got any questions for me on any of this stuff, I really want this information to help you as much as possible. Hit me up at info@warriorsoulapparel.com. And with that, take care of yourselves, guys. Take care of your health, take care of your hormones, train hard, and live your best life. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace. I almost put 3 fingers up. Peace.